Breaking developments in the Emmanuel Haro case. Jake Harrow, one of the parents accused in the tragic death of 7-month-old Emmanuel, has publicly claimed that his wife Rebecca is completely innocent. But here's where it gets even more complicated. A neighbor has now stepped forward to confirm that Rebecca herself was a victim of abuse at the hands of Jake. This revelation changes how many people are looking at the case. Is Rebecca truly innocent? Or could Jake be trying to control the narrative? And how does abuse inside the home reshape the legal and moral questions surrounding this trial? Before we dive deeper, we want to thank every one of you for helping us cross 2,000 subscribers. Your support keeps this channel alive. If you haven't already, please drop your fingerprint on the subscription button. Together, let's push for 3,000, then 5,000, and eventually 10,000 subscribers. We are fully committed to bringing you daily details and breaking updates on this case, so you never miss a single twist. Now let's break down everything that unfolded inside and outside the courtroom, beginning with the September 16th hearing. On September 16th, 2025, the Harrow case returned to Riverside County Superior Court for what is called a felony settlement conference. This type of hearing is designed to give both sides, prosecution and defense, a chance to discuss possible plea deals before moving into a full trial. Judge Dwight Moore presided over the session. Both Jake and Rebecca Harrow appeared in court, facing serious charges of murder, child abuse, and filing a false police report. Each of them has pleaded not guilty. The courtroom atmosphere was tense. Prosecutors have signaled their determination to pursue the harshest possible penalties, while defense attorneys are exploring every possible angle to protect their clients. During the hearing, the attorneys discussed a potential plea deal. This is standard in cases of this magnitude. Prosecutors sometimes want to secure a conviction without the uncertainty of a jury trial. But in this case, no agreement was reached. The court instead set 2 future dates, another felony settlement conference for October 16th and a preliminary hearing for October 28th. That preliminary hearing will be crucial. It's when the judge decides if there's enough evidence for the case to proceed toward trial. What makes this case especially complicated is that both defendants, Jake and Rebecca, are not only accused of participating in the crime, but are also tied together by marriage. That means their defense strategies can overlap, collide, or even contradict each other in ways that influence the outcome. And as this case unfolds, every statement from the Harrows is being examined under a microscope. Leading up to the September 16th court hearing, Jake Harrow made a striking statement. He claimed that Rebecca had nothing to do with Emmanuel's death. According to Jake, if anyone should be held responsible, it is him alone. On the surface, this may sound like an act of loyalty, one spouse protecting the other. But legal experts and public observers have raised questions. Is Jake telling the truth, or is this a carefully planned move? If Jake is lying, his goal could be to shield Rebecca from legal consequences, knowing the prosecution's case might weaken if she is removed from the center of responsibility. Alternatively, he may be attempting to control the narrative, casting himself as the main culprit, while still leaving room for doubt. Observers have also pointed to Jake's body language and tone during his remarks. Was he calm, resigned, or defensive? Small details like these matter in high-profile cases because they can suggest whether someone is being truthful or strategic. At the same time, Jake's words place Rebecca in a delicate position. If she accepts his defense of her, it may look like she is simply following his lead. But if she contradicts him, she risks appearing disloyal or inconsistent. This back-and-forth dynamic between them is something both the prosecution and defense will undoubtedly highlight in future hearings. So the big question remains, is Jake's statement genuine, or is it an attempt to shield himself while manipulating how Rebecca is seen in the eyes of the court and the public? And now we turn to one of the most significant developments outside the courtroom. A neighbor who had observed the Harrows over time revealed that Rebecca herself was a victim of abuse at the hands of Jake. This revelation introduces a new perspective. If Rebecca was indeed abused, it may explain why she appeared passive, hesitant, or even silent in the face of events surrounding Emmanuel's death. Victims of abuse often find themselves trapped in cycles of fear, manipulation, and dependency, which can limit their ability to act freely. It's important to note that legally, evidence of abuse does not automatically absolve someone from responsibility in a criminal case. but it does create a fuller picture of the household environment. Prosecutors, judges, and juries often consider abuse as a mitigating factor, something that could reduce blame or shift how responsibility is assigned. This neighbor's account also adds emotional weight. It paints Rebecca not only as a possible co-defendant, but also as someone who may have been suffering privately under Jake's control. And yet, critics ask another tough question. If Rebecca truly was abused, why didn't she reach out for help earlier? Why didn't she intervene to protect Emmanuel? These are the kinds of questions that will shape how the public, and eventually the jury, understand Rebecca's role. Whether she is seen as a victim, a participant, or both will depend on the evidence presented in court. The combination of Jake's public defense of Rebecca and the neighbor's revelation about abuse has ignited heated public debate. On social media, some people are expressing sympathy for Rebecca, arguing that she may have been trapped in a violent household, unable to protect her child or herself. Others are skeptical, suggesting that abuse, while serious, cannot erase her responsibility if she played a role in Emmanuel's death. Media outlets across the nation are covering the case daily. Local advocacy groups dedicated to child protection have spoken out, using the Harrow case as an example of why stronger intervention systems are needed when abuse is suspected. Meanwhile, faith communities, parenting groups, and legal analysts are weighing in, each with their own interpretations. Some see Jake's statement as an act of desperation, others see it as a possible confession that could simplify the case for prosecutors. The story has become more than a criminal trial. It's now a larger conversation about domestic violence, parenting, and the responsibilities of both parents in protecting children. From a strictly legal standpoint, this case is complex. First, the abuse allegations against Jake, if proven, could serve as a mitigating circumstance for Rebecca. That means her defense team may argue she lacked the freedom or power to make independent choices. Second, Jake's claim that Rebecca is innocent could influence how prosecutors handle plea deals. In many cases, prosecutors push for plea agreements to avoid lengthy trials. If Jake insists he alone is guilty, prosecutors may consider offering him a harsher deal while treating Rebecca differently. Third, the challenge is evidence. Words alone, whether from Jake or a neighbor, are not enough to decide a case. Prosecutors will rely on medical records, forensic analysis, phone logs, and witness testimony. Every shred of evidence will be crucial in showing who did what and when. Finally, there is the public pressure factor. High-profile cases like this one are rarely decided in a vacuum. Judges and attorneys know that communities are watching, advocacy groups are responding, and the media is dissecting every move. That pressure can affect whether a plea deal is reached or whether prosecutors decide to push forward with a trial that could last months. As of today, both Jake and Rebecca Harrow remain in custody, each held on $1 million bail. Their next key court dates are set for October 16th and October 28th. Investigators continue their work, still searching for Emmanuel's remains. That search is critical, not only for closure, but also for strengthening the prosecution's case. Over the next month, both defense and prosecution teams will refine their strategies. Will Jake continue to insist that Rebecca is innocent? Will prosecutors treat his statement as credible or dismiss it as an attempt to shift responsibility? These are the questions hanging over the case as the October hearings draw closer. So where does this leave us? We have Jake Harrow publicly insisting that his wife Rebecca is innocent. We have a neighbor confirming that Rebecca was a victim of abuse, and we have a courtroom process that is moving forward step by step, with no easy answers and no clear outcome yet. The story of Emmanuel Haro is one of tragedy, legal complexity, and human struggle, and it will continue to unfold in the weeks ahead. Now we want to hear from you. Do you believe Rebecca is truly innocent, or is Jake trying to protect her while shaping the narrative in his favor? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and once again, thank you for helping us reach 2,000 subscribers. If you haven't already, please drop your fingerprint on the subscription button as we push toward 3,000, 5,000, and eventually 10,000 subscribers. We are committed to bringing you daily updates and in-depth coverage of this case. Stay tuned, because the next chapter of this story is just around the corner.